Welcome, and we're working on Pythagorean Theorem. Here's some facts about Pythagoras if you're very interested in it. As you can see, this is a very old theorem. First off, the definition of Pythagorean Theorem of a squared plus b squared equals c squared. The square of the hypotenuse of a right triangle is equal to the sum of the square of the other two sides. Just some key words that I want you to kind of take note here. It only works on right triangles. That's very important. As you should note here, I have a right triangle. And then also what you should note is I take the sum of the square of the other two sides. Sum of the other two sides. Make sure you're aware of how to identify which one's a leg, and which one is the hypotenuse. Hypotenuse is always across from the right angle. It doesn't touch the right angle. All right, let's look at some examples and try to practice on a few problems here. Well, first of all, if example 1 here says x, 9, and 12. Let's identify which one is the hypotenuse. And like I said earlier, the hypotenuse is the longest side and is away from the right angle. It's on the other side of this. So when you write out the Pythagorean theorem, it always goes a squared plus b squared equals c squared. And basically what you should be aware of is that a and b will always represent the sides of the legs. Now when you're looking at this, 12 and 9 are the legs. It doesn't matter which one you put in for a, which one you put in for b, as long as you have both of them on the same side. So 9 squared plus 12 squared equals c squared. And all you have to do from this point is now solve for c. And whenever you look at this, 9 squared is 81, 12 squared is 144, equals c squared. 81 plus 144 equals 225. The way that you cancel a squared is that you take the square root, and the final solution is 15. Go ahead and pause the video and try to do example 2 on your own. Example 2 kind of works out the exact same way. As you can see, from across from the right angle, this is the hypotenuse, meaning that this and this, 7 and 3, have to be the legs. So first off, let me write the Pythagorean theorem. A squared plus b squared equals c squared. A and b have to be the legs. So when you look at this, it's going to go 7 squared plus 3 squared equals c squared. And instead of c, I should be saying x, since they do label that as x. But if you want to put it as c, that's fine as well. So then as you work it out, 7 squared is 49, 3 squared is 9. What's 49 plus 9? 58. And then get rid of the squared by taking the square root of 58. Now, what happens if they give you different parts of the triangle? Let's take a look at this. So as you can see from example 3, the opposite side of the right angle, this is the hypotenuse. So in this case, they do give you the hypotenuse. Let me go ahead and write out Pythagorean theorem for you. A squared plus b squared equals c squared. Plug in what you know. First off, 6 and x are both legs. It doesn't matter which one you put in for A, which one you put in for B. Since they're adding, it does have an addition rule. And the other side, the hypotenuse, is 24 squared. If you work this out, you would actually end up with 36 plus x squared equals 576. Solve this like an algebra problem. So subtract 36 over. And when you subtract 36 over, you will get 540. The way you cancel out a squared is take the square root, So x equals the square root of 540. Or you could probably write that as a decimal, which I'll let you type that in the calculator to kind of figure out the answer there. Again, you can pause the video at this moment to try example 4 on your own. Example 4 really works out the exact same way as example 3. A squared plus b squared equals c squared. And you just have to identify which one is the hypotenuse, which ones are the legs. The hypotenuse is always the longest side. It's always the furthest one from the right angle. So as you can see in this is going to read x squared plus 24 squared equals 30 squared. X squared is just x squared. 24 squared is 576. 30 squared is 900. Subtract over 576 and you get 324. 324. Take the square root, and the square root is 18. Now you can justify and try to see if if the triangle is a right triangle by doing Pythagorean theorem. A squared plus b squared equals c squared. I don't know if this has a right angle. The key thing on this is that you have to be able to identify which one is the hypotenuse. The hypotenuse is always the longest side, so that's key on this. So just make sure you take note on that. So now once I plug in the numbers, it's going to be 5.6 squared plus 2.5 squared equals 6.4 squared. If I work it out correctly, I end up with 31.36 for the first one, 6.25 for the second one, and 40.96 for the last one. And whenever I add this together, I end up with 37.61 equals 40.96. Obviously, these two numbers do not equal each other. It's not equal. So what can I conclude about this triangle? There is no right angle. This is important to know. As you move on, the last problem I'm doing here is a story problem. Notice the key word here, draw a diagram. So they want you to draw a picture first. A ladder is leaning against the side of a house, a 10-meter house. This is 10 for the house. If the base is 3 meters away, this is 3, how tall is the ladder? And basically, you're just trying to figure out, like, how tall is this ladder? The hypotenuse here, because you should know this is the right angle. Go ahead and write out your Pythagorean theorem. A squared plus b squared equals c squared. A squared is 10. B squared is 3 equals x squared. This will be 100 plus 9 equals x squared. X squared will equal 109. Take the square root, and the square root is 109. Thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this. Thank you.